Head full of stress, need another place for my head to lay. They wanted raw shit. I'm about to give it to them. Came up with a boss bitch. She get fly and sit in the living room. So ain't no time to crap. It's time to get it out. This was part of the plot. I was just filling them out. Cut from another club. And a whole other vesture. Yeah, I'm all thick. Check the color and texture. Get it talking and whisper. Look how raw you are. They know that I'm getting boy. I deserve all of this. Strive for heaven first. I outlive all my pain. Saying he'll die when the trouble comes out long. Let go too gonna take my cut. Let go too gonna X me out. Let go too gonna have my back. But the top just cat go too gonna do me like that. And the world gon' get back. You don't roll. So wrong. You don't roll. So wrong. Don't you gonna X me out. And the world gon' get back. You don't roll. So wrong. So wrong. Who am I to be compared with? I'm off of the rap game on some real shit. And I ain't fucking with these rappers on some real shit. Trying to stack old chips on some stale shit. Uprise against the priest, man, he fell quick. Leave him running in the dark like the bread witch. I'm true to this shit and I can't switch. Leave him shaking like he trying to get that paint fixed. I'm going hard in the paint, bitch. Say he a god, but he ain't shit. He just impersonating. Full of that dope, you hurting nature. Puffing that smoke, he ain't a gangster. Now it's time to expose you. Time to show you how a real soldier rolls through. Death coming when it comes, let it hold you. Raised by mighty men, this how they mold you. Heart thumping like Pro Tools. I ain't nothing but the truth, boy, I told you. Style cold, it'll kill you. Cold blue, fresh like Chucky in the truth. What's the dope moves, nigga? Running, get the team, take his leg like the old bitch was soul food. I'm just trying to run my fingers up. Don't buck, cause the cement up. Claim it tough, but that ain't enough. Listen, to be quite clear, bitch, I'm smooth like a light bill. These niggas dead, I beat light pill. I'm going up like the light bill. Cause I'm just trying to get a buzz like my last name Lightyear. Send a message to the masses, I'm fortified. I'm about to trade in my 9 for a 45. I'm killing this shit, gotta mortify. You be carry up, got the other side immortalized. Them niggas nice, but I'm way more superior. He ain't one way, he don't fit the criteria. Don't take my kindness for weakness. I'm a beast on the interior. These niggas can't be serious. Brave heart go against the art. Don't go against the squad, you'll get picked apart. Oh, she say you know God, bitch, don't even start. Play with your hunter, I'm the you nigga dope like a swinging song. It's wartime, ain't no need to play. This lower ass nigga, you was never with us anyway. They say I'm going down for the things I say, so I went and got the Glock like you gon' roll with me today. These niggas weak, must be raised from a poor strain. No type of pleasure, bring more pain. Fuck that sound shit, bring more flame. Straight soldier out the gate, I don't move, that's his ordained. No done bullshit, it's time to take him down. If he ain't taking ground, then don't come around. Soldiers in the back marching, that's how thunder sound. Tuck me in your boot, I'm just trying to run the underground. And fuck that glass ceiling, they ain't saying nothing. They say 144, how you keep it coming? I told them fear of the Lord, keep my feet from running. I kick shit like FIFA, young man, I aim high like I'm eagle hunting.
144, keep blazing, my nigga. The devil may cry, motherfucker.
Yeah. Mic check 1, 2, you hear me? 144 back again. Run it back. Yeah. It's time to lead the enemy desolate. I'm heaven sent. These niggas just on some extra shit, and I ain't impressed with it. Could you kick that bullshit to the left of it? And look, you can't deny this excellence. I use this mic like weaponry, and I've been seeking more clarity. Right now I'm ready as I'll ever be, rugged as I ever been. The devil knocking at my door, I'ma let him in. Cause I'm a worthy adversary. Pour them liqueur laced with rosemary. It's time to grind, ain't no time to tarry. Take one of mine, get your soul carried. I gotta worry, plus these niggas full of estrogen. They fickle, they false. Gotta be bold, so end up in the real issue. Fuck with my brethren, I deal with you. Yeah, look, it's getting real official. Seeing how the bitches can cross you, and how they still twist you. It'll hit you, they peeling tissue. Them others weak, my brothers been sent to the deep. So tell me, how can I turn the other cheek while this wicked world trying to smother me? Something got to shake, I'm gonna cry it out. Time to gird up my loins and ride out. In my soul, I feel devastation. In my eyes, I see desolation. At my door, death is waiting. But I don't wanna see no more desolation. I said I don't wanna see no more. Hey, in my soul I feel devastation. In my eyes I see desolation. At my door, death is waiting. But I don't wanna see no more desolation. And I don't wanna see no more.
All right, shalom. We are the ISUPK, starting out of 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York. If it's not the ISUPK under Commander Johanna, then it's not the truth and it's not of the Lord. Now, today's class is titled The Disproportionate Wealth Gap Between the White and Black and Hispanic Communities. So that will be the topic for today. The topic for today is, it's something wrong with the American society. It's something wrong with the death and poverty that's going on in the ghettos and barrios and reservations all across this country. So we're going to dig into that topic. If you have any questions, you can go ahead and type it into the comments and I'll get an answer for you. I'll give y'all a second. If y'all new to the channel and you're not familiar with the ISUPK, we are a Black and Hispanic organization who teaches the truth of the Bible. The truth of the Bible is that the Bible is a Black, Hispanic, and Native American Indian book, from Moses, from Jeremiah to Ezekiel, the prophets, all the prophets, everybody that wrote a book in the Bible are Black, Hispanic, and Native American Indian men, down to Christ himself. Christ is a so-called black man. The Holy Bible that we grew up thinking that was a white man's book, that was a complete lie. The Holy Bible is the Constitution for Blacks, Hispanics, and Native American Indians. It was written by our forefathers, and the priests and prophets and scholars in the ISUPK. We combed through the records of the Bible. We combed through the records of history and archaeology and came up with the facts that the Bible is a Black, Hispanic, and Native American Indian man book. So we go throughout the Bible, we go through our history and prove all things. Everything that we say we prove with the Bible or we prove with history. So if you are not familiar with the ISUPK, that's a brief summary of who we are. Now, if nobody has any questions, we're going to go ahead and just jump into the topic. Again, today's topic is, we're going to be covering the disproportional wealth gap between white, Blacks, and Hispanics. It's a huge, it's an obvious wealth gap between Black people and white people. It's obvious. So we're going to actually dive into that. So let's start with an article. We have an article from the Washington Post. We're going to read this article a little bit. We're going to jump into the scriptures to back it up. So let's start here with this article from the Washington Post. It reads this: in the decades since, white wealth has soared while Black wealth has stagnated. Many have pointed out, let's start up one paragraph. Let's go up one paragraph. In many ways, the gap between the finances of blacks and whites is still as wide in 2020 as it was in 1968. Now, let's just examine that one sentence. Let's read it one more time and then let's examine it. In many ways, the gap between the finances of blacks and whites is still as wide in 2020 as it was in 1968. So they saying nothing has changed since we had the right to vote. Nothing has changed since the civil rights era. Since 1968 to 2020, the Washington Post said nothing has changed for the uh, economics of the black and Hispanic communities. Now, that should tell you something. I hate to tell black people this, but your vote does not matter. Your vote does not matter in America for one simple reason, because it doesn't bear any fruit. We voted in Obama for over 8 years. What fruit did that bear besides legalization for homosexuality? And Obama was the one who built the damn cages that put our Mexican brothers and sisters in damn dog kennels. Presidents have not done anything for blacks, Hispanics, and Native American Indians since the 1960s. That's what we're reading right here. Let's read it from the top. This is the Washington Post. In many ways, the gap between the finances of blacks and whites is still as wide in 2020 as it was in 1968, when a run of landmark civil rights legislation culminated in the Fair Housing Act in response to centuries of unequal treatment of African Americans is nearly every part of society and business. So the Washington Post is saying that unequal treatment of African Americans and Hispanics is nearly every part of society and business, meaning that racism is in the DNA of America. Racism is in the very fabric of the American society. And you can see it every day. Once you go to the ghetto or you go to the barrios or reservations, all you see is poverty. You see people on drugs, strung out. You don't see any black-owned businesses in the black community. But once you go up north to the Jewish community, or once you go to any so-called white community, you see prosperity. You see nice paved roads. You don't see any potholes or anything like that. And it's something terribly wrong with that picture. It's something wrong with the fact that we come as a people to accept this as being a norm, or as being, it is what it is. That's not something that we should settle for as people. All right, let's read on just a little bit more. In the decades since, white wealth has soared while black wealth has stagnated. Many have pointed out the far larger share of white millionaires than black. But even among the middle class, the inequalities are stark. Now, the Washington Post did a study. They did a study, and they had the median household wealth of white people compared to the median household wealth of black people. Now, the common white household of America, the wealth is $149,700. The common wealth for the black family is $1,300. So that is a huge wealth gap. That is ridiculous. Let's see real quick. 149. Let's do the math one time. So white families get $149,000 on average, compared to the black families that get $13,000 on average. That is a the wealth gap between white America and black America for the middle class citizen, for the average citizen in America, is $136,000, meaning that the normal or average white household has $136,000 more than the black, Hispanic, and Native American Indian household. Now, if you just say to yourself, it is what it is, that's because you have a slave mentality. America say it's the home of the free and everybody is born equal. That's what is written on the American Constitution. But obviously, it's a lie. Obviously, the numbers, people like to say that numbers don't lie. So we looking at the numbers right now, and we are showing that it is a problem with the American society when it comes to so-called minorities, when it comes to the people that were once labeled as slaves, when it comes to the people that's on the bottom of society that makes the society run. Blacks, Hispanics, and Native American Indians make the American economy run. We make this country, we keep this country afloat, but at the same token, we are treated as less than second class citizens. You see it with the wealth gap, you see it with the police brutality, you see it with when we try to come out and speak about our plights of, Black Lives Matters and things like that, they go out and say all lives matter just to throw a smack in your face and tell you to shut up. Pretty much that's what it is. That's what all lives matters is. It's pretty much telling you to just shut your damn mouth and go do your job as a slave as you are meant to be. You know what I mean? But it's time for black people to wake up and really see the game or the finesse that's been going on with your people since the time of slavery, since the time of Jim Crow, since the time of segregation, since the lynching, since Black Wall Street, since the 80s crack epidemic. It's never been a span of time here in America where black people actually got a break from oppression. We never actually got a break or a chance to really build up our neighborhoods, to really build up our societies. Because every time we tried, they came with oppression. They came with Jim Crow laws in the 50s. They came with lynching in the 60s. In the 70s and 80s, they flooded our communities with heroin and crack and totally just wiped out the black family structure. In the 90s, they came with mass incarceration. Now the police are just playing out killing black men and Hispanic men. So it's never been a time here in America where black people actually got a chance to really build ourselves up. It's always been a stumbling block before us so we could fall. All right, now let's read on just a little bit more of this article. In 1968, a typical middle-class black household had $6,674 in wealth, compared with $70,786 for the typical middle-class white household, according to data from the Historical Survey of Consumer Finances that has been adjusted for inflation in 2016. The typical middle-class black household had $13,240 in wealth, compared to $149,703 for the median white household, an even larger gap in percentage terms. So the gap between the black economy and the white economy is ridiculous. It's ridiculous. And you wonder why so many black men and Hispanic men are strung out on drugs and don't have no hope for life. It's because they've been targeted by this society. And it should be obvious, but a lot of our people like to stay asleep in the American dream that we are all equal and there is no hate. It's obvious that America was born and bred on the hatred of blacks and Hispanics, on the hatred of the Taino Indians, on the hatred of the Seminole Indians, on the hatred of the black man, on the hatred of the Aztec. They enslaved and pretty much just robbed us of our culture, our identity, and everything that we had to call our own. Until this day, that still affects us. Now you have to come to terms with reality. The same people that enslaved your ancestors are the same people that's oppressing you right now. Nothing has changed. The fabric of America is still keep blacks, Hispanics, and Native American Indians at the bottom so the upper white class can stay on top. In order to have a running functional society, you have to have a class of people that's on the bottom, a class of people that can work in Walmart, a class of people that can work at McDonald's and Starbucks and get a minimum wage. That's how America is able to stay as the number one superpower on this earth. America is not the number one country on this earth for no reason. America is the number one country on earth because it had 200 years of free slave labor. And still to this day, they have not. They say that they so-called freed the slaves, but that is a lie. If the so-called slaves was free, we would be in our own homeland right now. We would have our own functioning government. Our people, our faces would be on our own dollar bills, not George Washington, who was a known slave owner, not Thomas Jefferson, who was just a damn devil, not Andrew Jackson, who marched thousands of Indians from the East Coast all the way to the West Coast and slaughtered thousands of them during the Trail of Tears. We wouldn't have to look at our oppressors on our dollar bills every day. If black people was truly free, we would have our own homeland and we would run our own society as we see fit. So, seeing that we are in this condition, it's up to blacks, Hispanics, and Native American Indians to wake up and come out of the American dream, which that's what it is. In reality, the American dream is a nightmare for black people. It's a nightmare for those little Hispanic babies that's in dog kennels at the borders right now. It's a nightmare for blacks, Hispanics, and Native American Indians. And it's time for us to wake up. According to the Bible, if you did not know, the Bible is a black, Hispanic, and Native American Indian book. And it's the blueprint to get us out of slavery. Just to hip you to something, it's a reason why they killed Jesus Christ. They did not kill Jesus Christ because he was giving out hugs and kisses. They killed Jesus Christ because he was a black revolutionary and he was going to overthrow the Roman government. That's the reason why they killed Christ. And it's time for us to turn back to that very blueprint to free our people out of this captivity. Now, let's read a little bit more on this article by the Washington Post, speaking about the disproportionate wealth gap between the black and white community. Now, let's start here. The historical data revealed that no progress has been made in reducing income and wealth inequalities between black and white households over the past 70 years. This article is written by white people, by the so-called white Jewish man, and they said that there has been absolutely no progress in reducing income, wealth inequalities between black and white households over the past 70 years. So I got a question, seeing this fact, why the hell are we voting? What are we voting for? Seeing that nothing has changed in the past 70 years. It actually deteriorated. It got worse. Our conditions in America has gotten worse since the 60s and the 70s. In the 60s and 70s, you can look this up on Google right now. The number one household in America pre-integration was the black household. The black household pre-integration was the number one household in America. Black families were thriving. We were together. It was a black father and a black mother in every household. But now, post-integration, after the CIA put crack cocaine in our communities and flooded us with heroin and abortion clinics and oppression and welfare and WIC and all kinds of devices to destroy our people, we are at the bottom of society. Now let's read on this article by the Washington Post. As of 2016, the most recent year for which data is available, you would have to combine the net worth of 11.5 black households to get the net worth of a typical white U.S. household. The Washington Post stated that in order to get in order for America to be equal, in order for everything to be fair, you have to put together 11.5 black households just to equal one household, equal one white household. Now, I didn't write this article. This article was written by the Washington Post, and it's just something that we have to face. We have to face the truth. Now, let's back this up with the Bible. Let's go into the Bible and see why blacks, Hispanics, and Native American Indians are suffering here in America in terms of economics. It's a huge key that's missing to the black, Hispanic, and Native American Indian community, and it starts with our code of morality. As a people, we've been totally cut off from our past. If you're a black man, you don't have no idea um, about your history post slavery. Black people have no idea who they are past 400 years ago. If you ask a black man walking down the street right now, just stop any random black man walking down the street and you ask him, hey, brother, who were you uh, 400 years ago before you came here in America? They can't answer it. And that is a huge crime. To wipe out a people's nationality is to wipe out their future because they have no clue about who they are. If you have no clue of who you are, then you have no hope for the future. If you don't know who you are, you don't know your purpose on earth. You don't know what you should be doing. You don't know what you shouldn't be doing. And as black people, we have been wiped out from our past. We have been wiped out from the truth of who we are. And the truth of who we are God's chosen people. And you can see that you can see that we are the Lord's chosen people just by our DNA, just by how we do things. Black, Hispanics, and Native American Indians, it's obvious that we have something special inside of us. It's obvious that we have something that the other nations don't have. When you see LeBron James or any damn near any black man on a basketball court, it's something special about that. When you see a black woman cooking, it's something special about that. When you see them Hispanics on that soccer field, it's something special about that. When you look around and look at all the inventions that are here in America, damn near everything that's every invention in America came from a black or Hispanic or Native American Indian. We are a special people according to the Lord. Let me get a precept on that real fast. Bear with me real quick. Let's go to the book of Matthew, chapter 5 and verse 13. All right, this is the book of Matthew, chapter 5, verse 13. Ye are the salt of the earth. Now, what does that mean? Christ said that blacks, Hispanics, and Native American Indians, who are the children of Israel, he said that we are the salt of the earth. Now, what is salt? Salt is if you put salt on anything, it gives it flavor, meaning that we bring flavor to the earth. We bring a specific type of spirit. We have a specific type of spirit about us. Let's read it from the top. Ye are the salt of the earth. If you put salt on anything, it's going to give it flavor. And that's what blacks, Hispanics, and Native American Indians do. You put us in any situation, we're going to put some flavor to it. We're going to put some rhythm on it. You put us on a dance floor, we're going to have some flavor to us. We're going to have some rhythm. You put us in the studio, no one sing like blacks and Hispanics. No one dances like blacks and Hispanics. You put us in a sports arena. There's no athlete like blacks and Hispanics. In inventions, it's no one smarter than blacks and Hispanics. We are the salt of the earth, according to the Bible. Let's read on. Ye are the salt of the earth, but if the salt have lost his savor, wherewith shall it be salted? So we are the salt of the earth, but the Lord said, if the salt lost its savor, wherewith shall it be sorted? Meaning, we are the most gifted people on this face of this earth, but at the same time, we in this hell that's called America, we have lost our identity. So we lost a part of us. You can see glimpses and flashes of us being a great people in terms of Hollywood and things of that nature. But in terms of morality, in terms of how our family structure is right now, in terms of how our community is ran right now, you don't see that flavor. So, it's up to us to come back to who we are. Again, the Bible says to remember the days of old. You have to go back into history and learn about your forefathers. Learn about what type of language did you speak before you came here on those slave ships via the transatlantic slave trade. Learn about what type of customs you had before slavery. Learn about what type of food did you eat. What type of laws did you keep? What type of clothes did you wear? And most importantly, what type of God did you have pre Christopher Columbus, pre the transatlantic slave trade? What type of God did blacks, Hispanics, and Native American Indians serve? And it's a excellent thing that the men in the ISUPK, we are here today, and we can prove that the Bible is a black man's book. It's all throughout the Bible speaking about Christ being black. It's all throughout the Bible speaking about Solomon being black. It's all throughout the Bible saying that Jeremiah is black. It's saying that the angels is black. All throughout the Bible saying that the Most High himself is a black man. And it's such a crime and a shame that this is something that we did not learn in the Christian church. We did not learn the Bible in the Christian church. We learned Christianity. And once you really compare what's being talked about in church, once you compare it to the Bible, it's a total contradiction. It don't add up. What your Christian pastor preaches is not what's found in the Bible. So it's the job of the men in the ISUPK to bring back our identity according to our God, to bring our people back to the truth of the Bible. Now, let's go to the book of Deuteronomy. Let's go to 28 and verse 1. Again, if y'all got any questions, just go ahead and type them in. Give me 1 second. Bear with me 1 second. Okay. All right, let's hop back into this. All right. We are in the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28 and verse 1. And it shall come to pass, if thou shalt hearken diligently unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe and to do all his commandments, which I command thee this day, that the Lord thy God will set thee on high above all nations of the earth. So the Lord said to the children of Israel during the time of Moses, he said to the blacks, Hispanics, and Native American Indians, if we would listen diligently, if we will hearken, meaning if we will really listen to what the Lord is trying to tell us, that he'll set us on high above all the nations upon the face of the earth. Let's read it one more time. This is the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28 and verse 1. And it shall come to pass, if thou shalt hearken diligently unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe and to do all his commandments, which I command thee this day, that the Lord thy God will set thee on high above all nations of the earth. So all we have to do as a people, all we have to do as a family of blacks, Hispanics, and Native American Indians were to follow the commandments that the Lord laid out for us in the book of Leviticus. All we have to do was not smoke weed, not eat pork, not have sex with a woman and then throw her away, not be a whoremonger, not be a whore, um, not celebrate Halloween and Christmas and things of that nature. All we had to do was to really observe the laws, statutes, and commandments that the Lord laid out. And he said he would put us above all nations upon the face of this earth. Meaning, the way that America is the superpower today and they dictate everything that happens throughout the earth, the way that the so-called European race dictate everything that goes on in the world. If you did not know it, you just gotta deal with reality. Deal with reality right now for a second. The so-called white man rules the planet Earth. He dictates whether this country can trade with that country. He dictates who owns the oil in the Middle East. He dictates who owns the natural resources in Africa. He dictates the whole planet Earth. The Lord said all we had to do as a people was to follow the laws, statutes, and commandments, and he would set us up on high above all the nations that are upon the face of this earth. But as a people, we did not listen to the Lord, so he did this. Let's read verse 15. But it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe, to do all his commandments and his statutes, which I command thee this day, that all these curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee. Now, as a people, we have one job. You know how they like to say you had one job? Blacks, Hispanics, and Native American Indians, we literally had one job. Our one job was to serve the Most High and keep all the laws, statutes, and commandments. And that one job, if we would have completed that one job, the Lord would have put us as supreme rulers on the earth, which was our birthright. But he said, it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe, to do all his commandments and his statutes, which I command thee this day, that all these curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee. Now, if you are living in the ghetto right now, the barrio, reservations, I want you to take a look outside your window and tell me that you are not living a cursed lifestyle in America. Tell me seeing Trayvon Martin, Sandra Bland, it goes on. The list is so goddamn long. It's so long, and those are just the brothers and sisters that actually make it to the TV screen. But police killings of our people happen damn near, if not every day. Every day, a so-called black, Hispanic, or Native American Indian is getting gunned down by the police. If you look outside, or just take a jog in your memory bank and count how many of your relatives, count how many of your relatives are strung out on drugs. Count how many uncles or cousins or parents are strung out on drugs. And you tell me that you are not living a cursed lifestyle. You tell me how many days that you went hungry as a child. And tell me that you are not living a cursed lifestyle here in America. The Lord said if we did not follow him, that we will be cursed. Now, if you go into the book of Deuteronomy, the 28th chapter, it lays a long list of curses that would befall the children of Israel. And guess who the children of Israel are today? The children of Israel today are the blacks, Hispanics, and Native American Indians. How do we know this? The curses that the Lord put on the children of Israel, it don't fit anybody but us. The only people it fit is us. Now, let's read one of those curses. Let's go to Deuteronomy chapter 28 and verse 68. And the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships. Now, if you know the etymology of the word Egypt, the word Egypt comes from a Greek word Egyptos. Egyptos means bondage. When you actually look into the actual landmass of what they call Egypt, it will be called Mizraim. But the word Egypt is synonymous with bondage because the so-called Israelites went into slavery or bondage in the land of Mizraim. So when you see the word Egypt, that means bondage. So let's read this from the top. Deuteronomy 28, verse 68. And the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt. So the Lord said he was going to bring you into slavery or bondage again with ships. Now, this is one of the curses that will befall the children of Israel, that the Lord will send the children of Israel into slavery using ships. Now, ask yourself this. Look through history. What group of people, what race of people went into slavery on slave ships? It's only one group of people that fits this curse, and that's the so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native American Indians. And if you did not know, the transatlantic slave trade did not start with black people. The transatlantic slave trade started with the Taino Indians, who were shipped to Spain by Christopher Columbus. It did not start with black people. It started with the Taino Indians first. Christopher Columbus took 1,200 Taino Indians, he put them on ships, and then he shipped them off to Spain. So the so-called Hispanics and Native American Indians, they fit this curse also. Blacks, Hispanics, and Native American Indians went to slavery on slave ships. And this was something that was prophesied by the Lord. The Lord prophesied this thousands of years ago, and it actually came to pass. That's how you know that the Bible is a real book. Because the Bible, if you take the Bible and you set it next to a history book, they'll say the same thing. The Bible is the most accurate past, present, and future book that you can find. It's prophecies in the Bible speaking about space travel. It's prophecies in the Bible about Martin Luther King. It's prophecies in the Bible about blacks, Hispanics, and Native American Indians going on slave ships. It's prophecies in the Bible speaking about World War I, speaking about World War II, and it's also one speaking about World War III. It's prophecies found all throughout the Bible, and they always come to pass. The Bible is a time machine. That's what the brothers in the ISUPK like to say. We like to say, we call the Bible a time machine because that's what it is. And it's such a powerful tool for a black man to have. To know the past, the present, and future, you can't put a price on that. You can't put a price on that type of knowledge to know the outcome of the life that you're going to live. So if you a black man or woman, you know what I mean? Because the Bible is definitely for sisters also. The ISUPK, we have plenty of sisters in our school. We got some hardcore sisters in the ISUPK. You know what I mean? But anybody that really, truly want power, you should know that knowledge is power. And the Bible, if you can just wipe off the Christianity, forget about what your Christian pastor taught you or your Roman Catholic priest taught you, which was a lie and not found in the Bible, and actually get the truth of the Bible, it's a powerful weapon. It's a powerful weapon that'll change your life tenfold. Because again, the Bible is a time machine. It tells you about the past, it tells you about the present, and it tells you about the future. The Bible, we just read right now about the transatlantic slave trade that's found in the Bible. Let's read it one more time. This is the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28, verse 68. And the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships. Again, the word Egypt is synonymous with bondage. So the Lord said, I will bring you into slavery or bondage again with ships. That only happened to one group of people. Blacks, Hispanics, and Native American Indians, they went into slavery via the transatlantic slave trade 400 years ago. No other race of people went into slavery on ships. And the Bible speaks about that prophecy. Reading on. By the way whereof I spake unto thee, thou shalt see it no more again. What is that speaking about? The Bible said once we will go into slavery on ships, that we won't see it no more again. What is the no, what won't we see again? The thing that we won't see again and we haven't seen again as black people is our homeland. As a black man, we haven't seen our homeland again. We don't even know where it's at. Well, the men and women in the ISUPK, we know where our homeland is at, but just really think about that for a second. Like, let that register in your mind. Like, you don't understand the deep psychological effect of not knowing your own history does to a child. It promotes low self-esteem. The United States education system promotes low self-esteem in black, Hispanic, and Native American Indian children. To teach a child that your history starts at slavery, you're asking to just you're pushing low self-esteem into that child's mind. And that's the agenda of America, to keep blacks, Hispanics, and Native American Indians in a docile state. To teach a child that your history started at slavery, but this little white boy, his history started at it's like, give me 1 second. Hey, Shalom, it's like, bear with me 1 second. It's like, where was we at? Sorry about that. All right, let's jump back into the scripture real fast. All right. We was in Deuteronomy 28, verse 68. We in the middle of the verse. And there ye shall be sold unto your enemies for bondmen and bondwomen, and no man shall buy you. It's like, give me 1 second, 1 second, 1 second. Lord Christ, everything too wild? Oh, okay, I'm thinking about telling me the feed messed up or something. All right, no sweat, Lord Christ. All right, let's drop this. Let's get another precept real fast. Let's go to. Let's see where we gonna go. 28:15. Let's go to Deuteronomy chapter 28 and verse 43. Let's go there real quick. The Lord prophesied in the Bible that the wealth gap between blacks, Hispanics, and Native American Indians will be huge. That's also, found in the Bible. Let's go to Deuteronomy 28. Let's start at verse 43. Let's read this. The stranger that is within thee shall get up above thee very high, and thou shalt come down very low. He shall lend to thee, and thou shalt not lend to him. He shall be the head, and thou shalt be the tail. Now that is the life for every black, Hispanic, and Native American Indian. Let's read it one more time. Let's go to verse 44. He shall lend to thee, and thou shalt not lend to him. He shall be the head, and thou shalt be the tail. That's your life at your so-called job, at that warehouse that you work at McDonald's that you work at, Target, Walmart, wherever you work at the end of the day, it's a white man that owns that company, and he will lend to you, but you won't lend to him. Meaning this, he'll pay you for working for him, but you won't pay him for working for you, because he does not work for you. You work for him. And that's a curse put on the so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native American Indians for not following the Lord. For not following the Lord said that a stranger that is within thee shall get up above thee very high, and thou shalt come down very low. He shall lend to thee, and thou shalt not lend to him. He shall be the head, and thou shalt be the tail. Now you tell me that's not your life here in America. You tell me that's not the life of every black, Hispanic, and Native American Indian. You tell me that's not the life that you live at every job that you ever worked since the time you was 16. Since the time you had a work permit. You tell me that. You know what I mean? It's just all out over the Bible speaking about our lives as blacks, Hispanics, and Native American Indians. And it's hard for some of our people to grasp it because since the time you came out the womb, you had Christianity just flooded into your subconscious. You had the white Jesus flooded into your subconscious. You had, in your eyes, the Bible is a white man's book, and you just can't get around that. Even though you never read the Bible for yourself, you never actually went inside the Bible and confirmed the things that your Christian pastor or the TV or propaganda was putting into your subconscious. Although you never researched it for yourself, that's what you believe because that's what you grew up hearing for over 25 years. But if you actually dust off the Bible, blow the dust off of it, open it up, you will see that it says that the Jews are black. You will see that it says that the Israelites are black. You would see that. Matter of fact, let's read that real quick. Let's go to the book of, what was that? I ain't read the color scriptures in so long. Jeremiah. Let's go to Jeremiah. Book of Jeremiah. Let's read some color real quick. 14 and 2, that's what it is. Took me a while. All right, let's read this. This is the book of Jeremiah, chapter 14, verse 2. Judah mourneth. Now, the word Jew is short for Judah. Judah is one of the tribes of the nation of Israel. So that's where you get the word Jew from. Jew is short for Judah. So the Bible said that Judah mourneth, meaning that the people, the Jews, will be in a state of mourning. Read it on. Judah mourneth, and the gates thereof languish. So the Bible said that Judah will be in a state of mourning, and the gates of Judah will have languished. Now, what does the gates signify? This is a metaphor. The gates, what do you put up a gate for? You put up a gate for protection. So the Bible said that the Jews will be in a state of mourning and their protection is not there. Now, name one group of people that's in a state of mourning worse than black people. I'll help you out with that. Black people have been in such a state of mourning that we created a whole genre of music about our mourning. It's called the blues. It's no group of people that's in a worse state of mourning than so-called black people. We've been in such a horrible state here in America that we made a popular genre of music about our mourning called the blues. So the Jews are in mourning and their gates languish, meaning that the Jews have no protection. We have no protection from the so-called Arab coming into our communities and stealing all our jobs. We have no protection from the so-called white man coming into our communities and killing all our men. We have no protection from the so-called Chinese people coming into our communities and taking over the black woman hair industry. We have no protection. We have no protection whatsoever in America. Whatever the United States government, which is basically the Ku Klux Klan, whatever they want to do to so-called black people, we can't do nothing about it. And the Bible said that this would happen. The Bible said that the Jews would be in mourning and their protection would not be there anymore. So let's read it from the top. This is the book of Jeremiah, chapter 14 and verse 2. Judah mourneth, and the gates thereof languish. They are black. It's right there. It's right there. Get you a King James Bible. Get you a King James version of the Bible and go to the book of Jeremiah, chapter 14, and go to verse 2. And it tell you that the Jews are a sad people with no protection, and they are black. Judah mourneth, and the gates thereof languish. They are black unto the ground, and the cry of Jerusalem is gone up. Now, why does it say they are black unto the ground? Because, excuse me, when you dig up the soil of the ground, what is it? It's different shades of brown, and that's what black people are. We're not really black. We're different shades of brown. You might have a Wesley Snipes type of nigga, dark brown, super dark brown. You got a brother like me. I'm light skinned. I'm light brown. You got brothers in between. We all all shades of brown. Now, that's just one color scripture in the Bible speaking about the Jews being black. You can go to the Song of Solomon. Let's go there real quick. Let's go to the Song of Solomon. Let's go to chapter 1. Where we want to start at? Let's go to, this is the book of Song of Solomon, chapter 1 and verse 5. I am black, but comely. So Solomon, he just straight out came and said it. He said, I am black, but comely. Now, what does that word comely mean? The word comely means beautiful. So Solomon said, I am black and beautiful. That's in the book of Solomon, chapter 1 and verse 5. But you have to have the original King James version of the Bible. If you do not have the original King James version of the Bible, if you get that New Christian Testament, New Revised or whatever, they will take out the word black. They will totally take out all the color in the Bible just to whitewash it, just to cover up the track, the bird seeds that lead to the treasure. They cover it up by taking out the word black. They cover it up by taking out all the color in the Bible. So you just have to be careful and make sure that you get a King James version of the Bible so you can see where King Solomon, the king of the Jews, said, I am black but comely. Let's read some more. O ye daughters of Jerusalem, as the tents of Kedar, as the curtains of Solomon, look not upon me because I am black, because the sun hath looked upon me. Solomon said, I'm black, you know what I mean? When I was a shorty, I was outside getting my tan on, you know what I'm saying? The Songs of Solomon is a book that's written in a poetic style. It's Solomon speaking to his wives, then his wives speaking to Solomon. If you a black man, you better read the book of Songs of Solomon because it's game up in there. If you think you got game until you read the book of the Song of Solomon. Solomon has some game, you know what I'm saying? And it's always good to read up on your history, read up on your forefathers, your ancestors. Solomon was the richest king who ever walked the face of this earth. And that's verified throughout history. And he was a black man just like me and you. So imagine black children growing up in school learning about their true history. We wouldn't have low self-esteem and those type of issues growing up. We would think that we were somebody, you know what I mean? And that's what black children need, heroes. White children got their heroes. They got Thomas Jefferson. They got George Washington, Benjamin Franklin. They got all these so-called people to look up to. Who do black children have to look up to during school? In the textbook, the slave? It's a damn shame, man. It's a crime what's being done to our people. We are being indoctrinated at the age of 5. We are being indoctrinated at the age of 5. We've been rushed to the prison system at the age of 18. We been rushed to the damn hot to the ER once we become adults. We being rushed to clinics because the damn CIA putting drugs in our communities. It's an all-out war on Black, Hispanic, and Native American Indians, and our people. We just can't see it. We are blind to the fact of what's going on. We're blind to the fact that the American government is at war with us. Even though they don't have tanks outside, they do have abortion clinics. Even though they're not killing us with fighter jets and things of that nature, but they are sending cocaine and crack and heroin into your communities by the boatload and drugging up all your men, drugging up your future. The children is the children of your community is the future of your community. And if they all strung out on drugs, then you don't have a future. If they all grew up with low self-esteem because of American textbooks, then what future do you have? It's time for parents. It's right now is a good time to start teaching your kids your damn self, because they not forced to go to school right now. They're doing a little e-learning or whatever. Whatever. Let them learn that curriculum on e-learning. But at the same token, why don't you dust off the Bible and teach them some real history? Why don't you dust off the Bible and go into the book of Songs of Solomon, and read where Solomon said that he was black and beautiful? Why don't you put that into your child's mind instead of putting George Washington, I was going to say Benjamin Button, Benjamin Franklin, and all these white superheroes? Why don't you put some black superheroes in the mind of your child? Because it's what we need. And you wonder why your children are growing up to be thugs and gang bangers and things of that nature. It's because since they came out the womb, they've been indoctrinated, telling them that they don't have a future. They don't have a past. They don't have a history. So why in the hell you think they're going to think they got a future? It's time for black people to wake up to the game that's been playing on our people. Bear with me 1 second. All right, let's see where we at with it. All right, let's get another precept. Let's jump back onto the topic. Let's go to what we want. Let's go to Psalms, the 83rd chapter. Let's get that real quick. Psalms 83. Let's see what we got on this article. How much more we got on this article? All right, let's go back to this article by the Washington Post. All right, this is the Washington Post. Everybody knows that people of color are at an incredible economic disadvantage. So they saying it's common knowledge. It's common knowledge that racism is embedded into the opportunities that's afforded to the blacks, Hispanics, and Native American Indians. This is the Washington Post. Everybody knows that the people of color are at an incredible economic disadvantage. But few realize it's as bad or worse than it was before civil rights. With Karen Patro, managing partner of Federal Financial Analytics, Black Lives Matter has shown that we don't have Selma Bridge anymore. But the situation today is profoundly troubling. Wealth takes into account not just the wages that people earn for work, but homes, stock market investments, and other assets they have. More wealth makes for a comfortable, safer living. And more importantly, it is passed on to the next generation. Their parents' wealth gives many white children a boost at birth, an advantage many of their black peers lack. Higher education has long been touted as a ticket to the middle class, but for black Americans, that has not been as true as one might hope. The typical black household headed by someone with an advanced degree has less wealth than a white household with only a high school diploma. God damn. We can't even win. Damn. They said you if you a so-called black man and you got a advanced degree, you have less wealth than a white household with only a high school diploma. Man, if the white man's not the devil that the Bible speaks of, who is? You gotta show him to me. If it's not him, tell me who is the devil. You gotta tell me. You gotta show me. I'm gonna stick to the facts. The wealth, the wealth gap is even more pronounced among less educated Americans. A white household whose head has only a high school diploma has almost 10 times the wealth of a black family with the same education. The fact that black families start off with so much less wealth makes it difficult to catch up. Research has found, good night. I wish I could show you this chart that they got up. Oh my God, this it's totally disgusting. It's totally disgusting what's going on with our people right now, as terms of equality and fairness. Like America promotes that this country has. It's nothing fair about America. It's nothing equal about America, and it's obvious that blacks, Hispanics, and Native American Indians have been designed to be at the bottom of this society. Reading on. There are no actions that black Americans can take unilaterally that will have much of an effect on reducing the racial wealth gap, concluded a 2018 report on the wealth gap from the Samuel D. Du Bois Cook Center of Social Equity. Good night. The Washington Post said that it's pretty much nothing you can do. Why is there nothing that we can do to catch up and close the wealth gap? It's a simple answer. It's because the white man is the devil that the Bible speaks of, and he don't want you to catch up. He don't want you to catch up. The word race should tell you that you are in a competition. It tells you the very definition of the word race means that you are competing with somebody else. And the white man knows that he is in competition with the so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native American Indians. It's just our people, we don't realize that it's a competition. We the type of people that will pass the baton to the opposite team. That's what we are doing as a people. We're the type of people, we run at a goddamn relay race, but we'll give the baton to the opponent. That's what we are doing as a people. And as a people, we are suffering because of it. We are suffering because we are unselfish as a people. Black people, it's time for us to get selfish with our love. White people don't need no more love from us. They got all the love and wealth in America that they can amass. We need to keep our love in our own communities. We need to keep our love in our own businesses, in our own economics. And that is the reason why we are failing as a people. That's the reason why the damn south side of Chicago look like the wild, wild west. Because we are so unselfish when it comes to the other races. Now, we are selfish when it comes to ourselves. But when it comes to other races, we are not selfish. And something is completely wrong with that picture. It's totally off, and it's not according to the Bible. That's not what Christ prescribed. A lot of people like to walk around and say that they're Christian and things of that nature, but don't do a damn thing about what Christ prescribed. You are nothing like Christ. Christ was all for his people. Matter of fact, let's get a precept on that real quick. Let's go to, let's see what we got. Matthew 15 and 24, I believe. Let's go there. Show you how selfish Christ was when it came to his people. Christ was selfish when it came to his people. He didn't give a damn about nobody else but the plight of his people. And that is the spirit that we have to have here in America. Okay? This is the book of Matthew, chapter 15, verse 24. But he answered and said, I am not sent, but unto the lost sheep of the house of Israel. Christ was sent to the lost sheep of the house of Israel, meaning that he was sent. The Lord in heaven sent Christ on a mission to save his people. And that's what we got to look at. That's the goal we got to have in mind as blacks, Hispanics, and Native American Indians. Let's go to Mark. I believe it's in Mark. Something 31, 1 and 21. Let's go to Matthew 1 and 21. This is the book of Matthew, chapter 1, verse 21. And she shall bring forth a son, and thou shalt call his name Jesus, or Yahushua in the Hebrew. For he shall save his people from their sins. Christ was never sent to save everybody. Christ's mission from the time that he was born was to save his people from their sins. You know why? Because white people don't need saving. They are in heaven right now. Downtown Chicago for white people, that's heaven. Downtown Los Angeles, that's heaven. They are living in a state of heaven on earth. They don't need to be saved from nothing. You know who need to be saved? Those niggas, Hispanics, and Native American Indians that's dying in the ghettos, projects, reservations, and barrios. Those people need saving. They need saving, and they need it fast. They dying on crack cocaine, heroin. They killing each other, dying from starvation. The people in Haiti are eating goddamn mud pies right now. Those are the people that Christ came to save. Christ came to save the Haitians, the Jamaicans, the Guatemalans, the Puerto Ricans, the Cubans, the Mexicans. That's who Christ came to save. He came to save his people. And that's the theme that has to enter into the mind of all blacks, Hispanics, and Native American Indians. All right. Let's hop off of this real fast. Let's go to the book of Psalms, chapter 83. Let me see if I want to go there. Yeah, let's go to Psalms 83 real quick. Get back on topic. This is the book of Psalms, chapter 83, verse 2. For lo, thy enemies make a tumult, and they that hate thee have lifted up the head. This is a psalm from King David. He said, lo, thy enemies make a tumult. So the enemies of the people of Israel made a tumult. A tumult is a loud noise. Reading on. And they that hate thee have lifted up the head. And David said that the people that hate us, have lifted up their head. Meaning the people that hate blacks, Hispanics, and Native American Indians have got very proud. They look at the conditions that blacks, Hispanics, and Native American Indians are suffering in, and what do they say? They say, pull yourself up by the bootstrap. They say little wise and slick things like that, knowing that they are the reason why that black man on the corner is on crack cocaine. Knowing they are the reason why that Hispanic or black man have no goddamn clue or about their identity or history or culture or language or anything, any knowledge of self. knowing that they are the reason why, for the well-being, for the conditions that conflict the barrios, reservations, and ghettos, knowing that they are the root cause of it all, they still tell you, pull yourself up by the bootstrap. Forget about it. Slavery was years ago. Forget about it. Pull yourself up. You're lazy. Let's read that one more time. For lo, thy enemies make a tumult, and they that hate thee have lifted up the head. They have taken crafty counsel against thy people, and consulted against thy hidden ones. Who is thy people, and who is thy hidden ones? The hidden ones are those niggas in the ghetto. Those niggas in the ghetto who you think ain't worth a damn. But in actuality, they are the children of Israel. In actuality, they are the true Jews according to the Bible. In actuality, they are the people that Christ came to save. They are the hidden ones. Read that one more time. They have taken crafty counsel against thy people, and consulted against thy hidden ones. They have said, come, and let us cut them off from being a nation, that the name of Israel may be no more in remembrance. Let's read that part one more time. For they have consulted, they have said, come and let us cut them off from being a nation, that the name of Israel may be no more in remembrance. Black man, you are not a nation anymore. You don't have your own homeland anymore. You don't have your own resources anymore. You don't have your own military anymore. Reading on, that the name of Israel may be no more in remembrance. And guess what? You don't know who you are anymore. This is a prophecy that King David wrote thousands of years ago that came to pass. We have been cut off from being a nation, and the name of Israel is no more in remembrance. That poor brother that's outside these doors right now, he don't know who he is. That poor sister that's walking into that abortion clinic and ready to kill her baby because she going through oppression and hardships, she don't know that she is the true daughter of Zion. The name of Israel is no more in remembrance. And this was a plot pitted against our people. Because as long as the children of Israel are at the bottom of society, guess what? America can stay afloat. It's the same thing that the Egyptians did. The Egyptians enslaved the children of Israel, and guess what? They had the #1 society on the face of this earth. America, which was founded by Freemasons. And what is the whole doctrine of Freemason based off of? The blueprint of Freemasonry is off of Egypt. Everything that Freemasons do, they base it off of Egypt. And who were Freemasons? The founding fathers. The so-called founding fathers, George Washington, Thomas Jefferson, and all those crackers, Slakia, were Freemasons. And guess what? They knew in order to have a superpower on this face of this earth, they had to put the children of Israel in slavery once again. And that's the same thing that they did. That's the very thing that they did. They went and got us off the west coast of Africa and brought us here and put us in slavery. And now, guess what? They have the #1 superpower on the face of this earth, just like Egypt did. But it's a punishment for that. It's you taking a huge gamble by putting the Lord's chosen people into slavery. Just like what happened to Egypt, the Lord is going to destroy America for putting his chosen people into slavery. Now let's get a precept on that. If you're a Christian, if you're a so-called Christian, you say you love the Lord, you say you believe in Christ and the Most High power and all that, why don't you believe in the Bible? This is the word of God. So let's go to the book of Revelation real fast. Let's go to Revelation, what is that, 13-10? Let's go to the book of Revelation, chapter 13 and verse 10. Let's see how much you really believe in the Most High power. This is the book of Revelation, chapter 13 and verse 10. He that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity. He that killeth with the sword must be killed with the sword. Here is the patience and faith of the saints. The Lord said, here is your patience and here's your faith. I have patience and I have faith because the Lord said he's going to give us revenge. He said he's going to pay our enemies back. He said, he that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity. What does that mean? If you put the children of Israel into slavery, your punishment is you have to go into slavery, and that is just. Is that not just? Is that not justice? Is that not fair? Is that not true equality? Is that not something that will recompense the wealth gap that we dealt with for over 100 years in this stinking country? Since my forefathers have to pick cotton, you gonna pick cotton. That's justice according to the Bible. Let's get some more justice according to the Bible. Let's go to the book of Psalms 137, I believe. Let's go there. Psalms 137. Let's read this. This is the book of Psalms. Sluggy. This is not the one I want. I think it's 141, if I'm mistaken. 139, that's what it is. I'm sure it's 139. No, that's not it. Give me 1 second. Let me pull it up real quick. 139 and 21. That's what it is. 139 and 21. All right, this is the book of Psalms, chapter 139, and verse 21. Do not I hate them, O Lord, that hate thee? And am I not grieved with those that rise up against thee? I hate them with perfect hatred. I count them my enemies. That's in the Bible. Love and forgiveness for your people, that's in the Bible. But also war and recompense, that's in the Bible too. You got to deal with the whole book. You can't take what you think is cute, cuddly, and soft and just hold on to that. You got to take the whole, you got to eat the whole scroll, like the Bible says. You got to take what's the entirety of the Bible. Let's read that one more time. This is the book of Psalms, chapter 139, and verse, we're going to start at 21. Do not I hate them, O Lord, that hate thee. King David said, I hate the people that hate me. And that's righteous. That's just. You can't defeat hatred with love. Whoever made up that is just a idiot. How do you defeat hatred with love? Do the gazelle go up to the lion and give him kisses? No, he get the hell out of there. You can't defeat hatred with love. That whoever made that is just a Christian and a damn fool. Now, this is the Bible. This is what the Bible prescribes for you. Do not I hate them, O Lord, that hate thee? And am I not grieved with those that rise up against thee? I know your mama told you, if somebody hits you, you hit their ass back. And that's what the Lord prescribes for you also. The Lord is not going to tell you to go love a group of people that then had you in slavery, that then gave you crack cocaine and heroin, had you hung up on trees from city to city, then put abortion clinics in your community, then gave you low self-esteem and took away your nationality, to where you walking up and down the street in 2020 and you have no goddamn clue about your history, who you are, your language, your laws, your customs. The Lord don't prescribe for you to love that type of man. That is Christianity, and that is not common sense. Common sense will tell you that you have to separate from that type of man. Common sense would tell you that. For example, if a woman is getting abused by her husband or boyfriend or whatever, you don't tell that woman to stay with that man. You tell that woman you got to separate from that man because he been kicking your ass. And that's the same thing that's been going on with blacks, Hispanics, and Native American Indians for over 400 years. The so-called white man, our oppressor here in America, been kicking our ass for over 400 years, and we still trying to love him. The more he black our eye, the more he bust our lip, the more we try to love him. That is insanity. It's insanity. That is textbook the definition of insanity. The definition of insanity is trying to do the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. You ain't got to do nothing but try to put your hands on me one time, and we going to war. And that's the spirit of the Bible. The spirit of the Bible is not cowardice. That's the spirit of Christianity. The spirit of Christianity is cowardice. The spirit of Christianity would tell you that the white man has more power than me, so whatever he do to me, I gotta forgive him because I'm a coward. That's not in the Bible. The Bible, this is the spirit of the Bible. What King David has said. King David said, "Do not I hate them, O Lord, that hate thee? Am I not grieved with those that rise up against thee? I hate them with a perfect hatred. I count them my enemies." Now, what does it mean to hate somebody with a perfect hatred? Meaning this. I don't hate them because they have blue eyes or blonde hair or pale skin. I don't hate them because of that. I hate them because they keep locking up my family members. I hate them because they keep shooting down my family in the street like dogs. I hate them because they marching my sisters to the damn abortion clinics and killing my nephews and baby cousins. I hate them because they putting drugs and got my uncle strung out on crack cocaine and making us drunkards and alcoholics. I hate them because of the oppression they put my family through. That's what it means to have perfect hatred. That's what King David was saying. Now, it's up to you. You can stay in La La Land in America, in the American dream. You can believe in that until the day that you die, until the Civil War pop off, which is also found in the Bible. If you did not know, it's a prophecy in the Bible speaking about the end times, saying that it will be a civil war in America. And you can see it. You can see it. You can smell it. You can smell a civil war coming here in America. You got the Proud Boys. You got Donald Trump. It's just, America is imagine a cup that's just it's ready to overflow. It's just ready to overflow. It just takes one small spark and the whole thing gonna go up in flames. And there's nothing that you can do about it. You know why? It's no amount of love that you can try to push onto the so-called white man to stop it. You know why? Because the Lord wants it to happen. The Lord don't want the white man to be your daddy. The Lord is your father. The Lord don't want you serving Christmas and Halloween and Greek fraternities and things of that nature. The Lord wants you serving him. So guess what? He's going to separate you from your daddy, who's the man that's been your daddy for over 400 years. He's going to separate you from him, and he's going to bring you back to him. You're going to have to come back to the Most High, whether you like it or not. Now let's go to the book of Zephaniah chapter 2 and verse 1. Let's read this real quick. All right. This is the book of Zephaniah, chapter 2, verse 1. Gather yourselves together, yea, gather together, O nation not desired. The Lord said, gather yourselves together, yea, gather together, O nation not desired. The Hispanics, the Mexicans, our Mexican brothers, they not desired here in America. The Guatemalans, they not desired here in America. The Haitians, they not desired. The Negro, you are not desired. The Lord said, you niggas, Mexicans, Hispanics, and Native American Indians, y'all gather yourselves together. Come together. Reading on. Before the decree bring forth. What is a decree? A decree is a order. So the Lord said, blacks, Hispanics, and Native American Indians, come together before the order. What is that order? We finna find out. Before the day pass as the chaff, before the fierce anger of the Lord come upon you. before the day of the Lord's anger come upon you, before judgment day. And I know you might think it's a fairy tale. You might just really have to convince, you might really convince yourself that the Most High does not exist. That two dust particles banged together and created advanced life, created the flesh that's on your bones, the cardiovascular system in your body, created your bones, your eyes, your consciousness. Two dust particles came together and allowed you to have dreams, a conscious mind, the gift of language, of sight, of hearing. You might have convinced yourself that it's nobody that designed that for you because you just a proud bastard. You might have convinced yourself of that, but whether you like it or not, the Lord is returning. The Lord is returning to put this earth in order. And the earth is not in order right now because the man that's the landlord over the earth right now is a terrible bastard. The man that's a landlord over the earth right now is wiping out entire species of animals. The man that is the landlord over the earth right now is polluting the ocean. Is destroying the ozone layer. Is wiping out races of people. The damn Aborigines, Australians are gone. The Native American Indians, by the grace of the Most High, are still here. But they was on their way to be out too. You so-called Negroes, if it was not for the grace of the Most High, you will be gone too. It takes a real special type of people to survive the events of slavery like you did. No other people could survive 200 years of slavery and lynching and still be around functioning and creating rap music and all kinds of sports. And it's a spiritual thing. It's a spiritual thing, and it takes a person with spiritual eyes to really see the truth. And I hope that you can actually grasp onto this truth and see it for what it's for. Now, we are the ISUPK, starting out at 1 West, 125th Street, Harlem, New York. If it's not the ISUPK, under Commander Junior Honda, then it's not the truth and it's not of the Lord. If you have any further questions, go ahead and type it into the inbox. Hit us up, ISUPK, Gary, Indiana. Shoot me a text in this inbox or whatever, you know what I mean? But make sure you get in tune because judgment is coming. Like we just read in the book of Zephaniah, chapter 2, verse 1, judgment is coming. And if you Black, Hispanic, or Native American Indian, you better get your spirit right. Now that's my time. Israel Shalom.